Hello and welcome to the Six Star Business Podcast, where we have conversations about what it takes to do things differently in business. That is, going beyond the status quo. What does it take to be extraordinary rather than ordinary? And not only becoming extraordinary, but being in business for a meaning, for a purpose, for a reason, and not just making money. Very often, people hit a dark night of the soul or a Mack truck event in their lives that cause them to stop, examine everything in their lives, look at their decisions, their actions, and that's the pivot point for massive change. And it's also one of the things that often brings people to a realization of what their purpose is and drives them to become more purposeful. And that couldn't be more true for my guest today, who is actually one of my co-hosts. It's Koray Serbest. And he is a beautiful man who speaks very eloquently and authentically about a personal story and how that wove into his work life, his overall life, and also how it brought him to the place he's at today, where he is living on purpose and striving to serve others. I was really excited when he agreed to this conversation because I knew that there might be people out there listening that would get a lot of solace and heart and inspiration from hearing Koray's story, because we're all humans on this journey and we go through things that aren't always easy. And if we can learn to, take heart, but also learn from our experiences and make the tough decisions to look at things like he did, we can create a better world for ourselves. And that's exactly what he's done. And this is a great example of how someone can shift their life for the better.
So sit back and enjoy this one with Koray Serbest.
Well, here we are. This is a very interesting and special episode of the Six Star Business Podcast, because I've got typically my fellow co-host as my guest today. I just thought it was about time. It was about time that I had Koray across the desk from me and I interviewed him, because he's just so interesting and you've got a lot to share, Koray. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity to have you here. Welcome. Thank you for agreeing to be my guest.
Thanks for having me, and don't put too much expectations on me towards the audience. So I'm just a typical guy like everybody else as well. So
good. That's what I want to hear, because we're all typical, right? We're all ordinary people living lives, hopefully, that are, more than ordinary. We're striving for extraordinary. And that's really what Six Star is all about. So, Koray, I like to introduce the guests in a way that, our audience can get to know you. So one of the first things is, could you share with the listeners where you are in the world, who you serve and how you serve them, and maybe something you like to do when you're not busy serving people?
Yeah. Oh, God. So I'm in Germany, born in a lovely city called Düsseldorf. And I have a lovely daughter of 9 years called Zoe, who's the sunshine in my life. And I'm a 70s child. And how I serve people, after spending more than 20 years in the corporate world, I decided to step out to do purpose-driven business, how people call it, to do consulting and advisory in the procurement space, but expanding beyond that. And why am I doing it is because I think we got to a stage in our lives and in the decade we are in, which became very dehumanized. And I just want to get back a little bit of more dignity, respect, and fun as well. What I do outside of my active things, because busy, I wouldn't call it busy anymore, because busy is something I have been in corporate. Yeah, busy to close projects, busy to finish presentations, to present to whomever, to get projects approved. I say active because nobody is forcing me to do something. It's purely driven by myself, and it's purely driven by the purpose, which I'm following, the purpose of helping others, serving others, and literally creating an environment and an atmosphere around me with like-minded people who are just aiming to have a more meaningful and better life. That's what I'm doing, more or less.
Okay, so that's your activeness. So what are you doing when you're not doing all that stuff?
What I'm doing when I'm not doing all these stuff, I go running, I go cycling. In summer, I spend 3 weeks luxury with my daughter at the beach house of my sister. We do stand-up paddling, surfing, snorkeling. I read books nowadays. I used to have them just standing in the shelf, and now I'm reading them even. And I'm actually investing quite a lot into myself and understanding who I am. What is the meaning in life? If there's a meaning, and definitely there is. And meeting with friends and having deep dive conversations I never had before. Yeah, that's it.
It sounds very, very worthwhile and rewarding. So what I'm really fascinated about, Koray, you've talked about being in the corporate world, and now you're living an active life of service. You're educating yourself. You're doing purposeful work. Can you tell me tell me what the journey was that you've been on from being in the corporate world, and what drove you to leave to be in this position now? Tell us a bit, please share it with me, this journey, because it sounds really interesting and I'd love to really get that out for our listeners.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a coming from a working class family. So despite of some of my uncles have got academic degrees, and I went through the normal school, middle school, high school in Germany, Abitur, and then I started with the university. I took a little bit of a detour because I was during the first phase of my university, not too much focus on the subject, more in experiencing life. And I always was working. I was working since I'm 16. I can remember filling up the shelves in supermarkets, then working the weekends in hospitals. Yeah, bringing the breakfast, the dinner, the lunch onto the floors, and always with a customer-centric mindset and mentality. So always I've been able, and it was important to me, to put myself into the shoes of customers, because due to some challenging moments in my childhood, and I don't need to get too deep into that, my mother taught me 2 lessons. So literally my mantra, which I kept living by, until today, which is treat others the way how you want to be treated, and I want to be treated fairly. I don't want to be treated in a mean way. I want to have fun. I want to have a pleasant conversation, and I'm always looking for helping others, without overstretching myself. And the other thing is, you can achieve whatever you want. So never allow somebody to tell you what you can and what you can't. And I think that was extremely important for me, because throughout the corporate 2 decades I have been, I got a lot of setbacks. I got laid off 3 times. And in the beginning, I took it very personal, but I realized actually it's not about you as an individual. You are just literally a kind of a resource, your number, and you are hired to fulfill certain expectations. And when you don't do that, you have the opportunity to improve. If you don't improve, you're being laid off, or somebody in the senior level, sorry to say, fucks up something, and then the normal employees need to bleed And literally that has happened all the time. So because over those 2 decades working for big companies like General Electric, with my black belt background, working for Siemens, exchanging Kraft Heinz, I have been working in the toughest corporate environments you can think of. And I learned a lot. And I'm extremely thankful for having had those opportunities to also understand that actually this is not the right path for me. As you can imagine, the society we're living in. So what literally is society doing to us or for us? It gives us a goal and aim, which is go to your school, be obedient, follow the advice, and get married, try to find and buy a house, plant a tree, get kids, and then retire and then die. And so many people I've talked to, in particular after stepping out of my corporate life and asking them, how did you start your journey as an entrepreneur? A lot of people told me about the fears that I have as well. Fear of failing, fear of not being accepted. And guess what? Majority of the people have been resonating, all of them, in one specific topic, which was a lack of fulfillment while being in the corporate world. And I can so resonate to that because...
Koray, can I...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Sorry, can I interrupt? I love hearing you talk about the people that you've met since you've left, but I'm really fascinated to get to know, like, to apply what you've just learned to your life. What were the decisions that you made? How did you make the decisions to get into your corporate career? And what were the fears that you had? Take me through that.
Well, it's simply, I've just like many people, I just finished university. I got my graduation, and then I seek for a job in the corporate world. I started as a sourcing analyst back in time. And when I entered the big corporate world with JE, before I have been doing many years of sales. And then I just climbed up the career ladder. So I became European category manager. I became head of procurement with 33 years, which was very unique, being responsible for 100 million. Having the CEO, Sean, as my
Did you, like, as you were going through that climb, were you clear about what you were trying to achieve? What was driving you? And did you have a clear goal or vision?
Actually, I think nobody has that, honestly, in the sense of we are aiming for the goals, what we have been conditioned to pursue through our society. As I said, get a good paid job.
So are you saying that was you? So what I'm trying to get out is what you felt. What was your vision and goals?
I mean, I was leaning into it.
Did you have a goal at that point?
I was leaning into it for 45 years. Thinking this is what I want, this is what I need, and climbing up the career ladder, more income, more responsibility, more people under me, and realizing that everything comes back to 2 things: helping the company to become more profitable, and pleasing shareholders, while nobody's taking care of the people who are actually standing behind the brand. Because regardless of the reputation of a company, whatever it is, it always comes down to people and relationships. Regardless of your level of automation, AI, whatever you use, the people are the ones who make the difference. And I was just getting more sick and tired of seeing so many big companies not appreciating their employees. And also myself, I was caught in my roles. So my intention was always, I'm a networker. So when I came into a new role, the first thing I do in the first 6 months I spent is building my network outside the department I'm working for. So it was predominantly, I was working for procurement. So I built my network around in finance, marketing, operations, to get this human connections, with the CFO, CMO, whatever, to understand what are their goals and objectives? What are their challenges? What are their fears? Yeah. And to get to that stage, you need to build a relationship with those people. And that was actually also my success formula. I was operating on the human level. Yeah. On the human level, understanding where do we have things in common and where do we have clashing points, and focus on those clashing points. So knowing that we have some contradictory KPIs we need to fulfill. So how do we overcome them without killing each other, literally? Yeah. And that was literally what I was good at. But I was limited in my role and reach. That means I was just allowed to operate in my area, although I was always holistically thinking, what is the best for the company? Not what is the best for me. Of course, ego plays a role as well. Yeah. And I had a big ego, and definitely I have still a big ego, but he's now a friend of mine rather than my enemy. And for me, it was, how can we together, as a collaborative approach, can take the company to the next level? But what I perceived is not many people were interested in that. Yeah, because people didn't want to improve. Improve could mean you need to sacrifice resources, people, so your kingdom literally was shrinking. Nobody was interested because all of them were as well driven by egos. So literally, you were on the playfield, of ego-driven maniacs and whatever. And I spent enough time there to realize it doesn't give me what I want. It gave me success. It gave me good money, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I tried to become self-employed 10 years ago in my mid-30s. But I didn't have the network. I didn't have the idea. And I didn't have the financial situation I have now to really be brave enough to give it a try. And what I'm doing now is I see my second phase of my life as an adventure. It's for me literally a game. Yeah. It's a game where there is no fail. It's just continuous learning for me.
Mm. What was the pivotal point in your career that drove you into this second phase that you're calling it? Like basically to leave the corporate world and go out on your own.
So I met my wife end of 2011, when I was working for GE Capital. And our daughter was born, Zoe, a couple of years, 2013. So actually 1.5 years after getting together. And GE Capital was in a difficult situation. And it was clear that GE is going to spin off the capital business. And when we heard about that there's a potential layoff or spin off, which could take another 1-2 years, for me, that was the moment where I said, holy shit, why should I work in a company for another 1-2 years, knowing that everything I'm going to build over the next coming 2 years is going to be of no meaning? And then I literally said, okay, let's take a break. So I took a break to spend time with my daughter, Zoe. And that was really a precious time to realize what is actually important in life, which is always family, friends, the people you love, people who love you, rather than hunting from one career move to the other one. Long story short, the last 5 years when
So how old was she?
She was at that time, she was just born. She was 6 months. Yeah. She was 6 months.
Okay.
And so I took the break, and then I knew I need to dedicate 100% of my time and put all my attention, focus on my daughter and see how she grows up. Because knowing that once I'm back, or once I want to go back, that I will dedicate myself again fully into the corporate world, into my role. Because I'm a kind of a borderline person, in the sense of, for me, there's never a middle way. For me, I'm either switched on 100%, I'm switched off. I never learned to go with I have a kind of going with the flow, but I need this kerosene to fuel my inner engine. Benzene or gas is not enough for me. And that has got me sometimes in some tricky, challenging situation. Anyhow, long story short, so I went back to corporate exchanging and then Kraft Heinz. And then actually I turned into somebody I wasn't happy with. So I had a big role, global role. I was flying around the globe a couple of times a year, being in Chicago, traveling to Australia, China. I was living in Frankfurt, nearby Frankfurt with my family. I was working in Amsterdam, flying around. So literally I would have been 250 days away from home, even more, I guess. And so the relationship with my wife declined. And end of 2018, she literally kicked me out of the house. And of course, you never say right from the start, because you're emotional, attached and touched by the situation. You never say, yeah, she's right. No, I was blaming her. I said, what the heck is going on? I mean, I was earning money. I was feeding the family. I mean, to be fair, she's teacher, so she was doing it as well. While I was traveling, she was taking care of Zoe. And, so I had to leave. So I got off and, I was blaming her. I was literally hating her and didn't accept that I could have been of any, fault. Yeah. And what helped me actually to rethink all of this was my daughter, because there was one turning point in the evening where something happened where I was close to freak out, and I asked Connie to come downstairs to talk about that. And I knew that this is going to end in an argument. And while it took her a couple of minutes to come down, I was just sitting there and I was asking myself, what the heck are you going to do? So you're going to blame her? And what are you going to do after that? And whom is that going to help? Is it helping her? Definitely not. Is it helping me? Actually not, because I'm just angry. Yeah, I just want to steam off, kind of. And then I was asking myself, how about Zoe? So what she's going to experience when I start an argument with my wife? And then I said, holy shit. I said, that wouldn't be good. At that time, she was 5, turning 5. And for me, I said, no, I don't want that. I don't want to argue. I don't want to debate and feel this anger. And I just want to be there for her. Yeah. So what that caused actually, after falling in this deep black hole, yeah, where you actually refuse to accept the brutal reality that 95% of what happened, that you actually have been the root cause for that and not Connie. And once you accept it, you only have, luckily, one way. You look up, yeah, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, yeah, and you take off by starting to reflect, by starting to questioning. And literally, that's what I started doing late 18. So I came across books like from Dr. Joe Dispenza, the epigenetics from Bruce Lipton. It's all about a little bit of law of attraction, but more it's about dealing with yourself, understanding who are you, where you're coming from, what are you driven by, yeah. And when you look to what's happening in the society, as I said, we are actually conditioned. All of us are conditioned robots over time. We follow patterns without realizing it, because the brain always tends to be and operate on the most efficient way. So if you do repetitive work, exercises, you save it in your brain, and then you actually, without knowing, yeah, you're run by patterns. So the time when you're run by patterns, you are not conscious about what you do. And that's what happened to me a lot. I had some baggage from my childhood, some programs which stuck in my brain, which were triggered by some behavior of Connie. And then I just the program run just through me. And then out of the sudden I make her cry. Yeah. All these things I have done. And I said to myself, no, I want to change. I have been enough an egoistic asshole. Yeah. Not worthy partner, not the best daddy I could have been for Zoe by being so long away from home. And I wanted to change it. I didn't like myself. I looked in the mirror and said, no, I don't want to be this fucking asshole anymore. Yeah. Pretending to help others and just interested in what he wants for himself. Yeah. And that's actually where my journey of reflection started. My journey of investing into myself. You can name it a little bit of, probably it's, kind of spiritual as well. Yeah. Understanding who we are, in the big universe. And, that's it. Yeah. And since I stepped out of corporate, for me, it was, okay, how can I serve? How can I evolve as a person? Yeah. Day by day. Okay. Probably week by week. Yeah. I'm also just a normal guy who still have patterns stuck in his brain and falls back into those patterns. Yeah. So I do 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but it's not about how often you fail. It's more, are you aware and what is the lessons learned out of that? Yeah. And I just realized by more focusing on the outside, focusing on other people, my inner voice, got quieter and quieter. And that gave me a kind of inner peace as well. And what I'm doing now, apart from offering this consulting service and advisory, is a lot which I would never have imagined to do. So just the work we do together, becoming a co-host in the 6-Star Business Podcast, bringing up some service products in the next couple of weeks, months, helping others with value propositions, and all these things, thanks to Lunch Club and other communities I have joined earlier this year. It's amazing. It's and I'm a guy of curiosity. I love to interact with people. I'm a connector. And there's so much I couldn't explore while stuck in the corporate hamster wheel over many years. And now I say to myself, okay, what is in for you and what can you do beyond what you have been already learning until today? Yeah. And that's what it makes an adventure for me. Of course, as an entrepreneur, you need to make money. Yeah. But I believe in giving first, rather than receiving first, in the sense of, I had recently a presentation where the main topic or the title was, from somebody to nobody and back again. What I meant by that is, by climbing up the career ladder in corporate, I became somebody who was, well perceived, recognized, but it was actually not me. Yeah, it was a role I was playing. I always tried to bring in my personality, which I was allowed to do to a certain degree and not beyond that. Yeah, because then it would have been flipped back in a negative way to me. And with deciding, with some support from Kraft Heinz, of course, thanks to that, to go outside and become a corporate drop-off, I literally became a nobody. Nobody gives a dime what I have been achieving 20 years in corporate in procurement, how many millions I've saved. Yeah. So the question is, how am I going to build my brand? And associated with the brand, to be actually known and recognized in the entrepreneur world where today, is you need to be credible. You need to have reputation. So the easiest way to do that is helping others, demonstrating what you're capable to do of, and then let them speak the word for you. Use them as your advocate. Yeah, and that's literally what I'm doing. So on my homepage, I'm predominantly focusing right now on partners. So I'm meeting a lot of people And I'm looking in particular for people like me. So, authentic, transparent, straightforward, knowledgeable, no bullshitting, and who are really interested to make a difference and add value to the customer. So they're very customer centric or customer driven. Yeah. And they build their success on the relationship they're able to build within the customer's premises. I'm talking a lot, so.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that story, the personal story of, I guess, the wake up, if you want to call it, the wake up call. How did you then transition from, you said, being kicked out of the house and focusing on your daughter, because you talked about that as being the pivotal point. How does that then transition you to leaving the corporate world? I'm just really interested to know the process there and what went on for you.
Well, I just moved out. I just found a flat nearby. For me, it was clear I need to stay close to them. And while working through, because I had one big challenge now with accommodating, to become again a bachelor. So, and I had to first go through that period of time to just reset myself, understand what within my personality, the way how I have been, I need to change. So corporate world kept moving forward. Yeah. So I had to have at least one stable pillar, because two broken pillars, that leads to insanity. Yeah. So while I was trying to build my own life and continue to do my corporate job, I worked on myself, as I said, and my brother Achim was really one of my essential vocal points. Yeah, he was my mentor. Probably he was even my psychologist now and then, because due to self-reflection and admitting that you have done a lot of things wrong and that you want to change, just the will to change is not enough. You need to start acting. You need to start doing things. And as I said, one of the books which actually was my kind of helped me with the awakening process, and with my transformation. My brother even says I went through a metamorphosis. Was the Untitled Soul from Michael Singer. And when I started reading this book, I said, "Holy shit, this is my story." I said, "This is my story." Exactly, I could resonate with every single sentence in that book. Yeah, and I said, "Okay, I'm up for it." Yeah, so I just follow what he was stating in the book. Yeah, and in between, while I was literally on my way, to become a better person, more humbled, not so arrogant, and also trying to reestablish my relationship with Connie, because for me it was clear we are not going to have a war, throughout the split. No, I said I throw my ego overboard, and luckily she did the same, and we did the only thing which really matters and everybody should do in that situation: focus on your children. So we focused on Zoe. We eliminated everything in the way how we interact together, communicate to each other, anything which could have harmed Zoe in any way. So while going through that process, I got a very compelling offer from another corporate company to actually become a VP. Yeah. That was all I was dreaming for. Becoming a VP, having it on the business card, having a couple of people under me, actually 50. And, but that would have required to do a full relocation to the Netherlands, where I've been living already back in 2005. And I said to myself, what would it bring you? Because I waste already so much time, not waste, because nothing I have done is a failure, because who I am today is the result of all the previous things I have done and which are happened to me. Yeah. And I wouldn't change anything, because people ask, when you would relive your life again, what would you change? I would change nothing, because the history, the past is the reason why I'm the person today. Yeah. Which I am, who I am. And so this carrot I got as a probably it was a kind of a stress test for me from the universe. I don't know. Yeah, this VP role. So what I did literally is, it was very compelling. The guys were really, really, in particular the HR guy. It was so much. The job description was written as if it would be. I mean, it was just a 1,000% match between what they want, what I'm able to offer, right? And then what I did is I just stepped back and I just look back the years I have been working for Kraft Heinz and commuting 1,000 kilometers a week. Yeah. And then flying around the globe. And then I just applied that to that job. I said, okay, so I got the contract. I have a very good negotiation. I get everything I want. I do the relocation to the Netherlands. I start working off my butt. Yeah. Normally that's, means 14 hours a day. Yeah. Building my network the first 6 months, having some quick wins in the beginning, doing some savings here, efficiency increase over there, blah, blah, blah. And then, settle in, yeah, fully in year 2. And then things keep on declining the frequency of seeing Zoe, because I'm too busy with my job. Yeah, no connection to my ex-wife, and by declining the declining relationship to my daughter, pissing off my ex-wife. Yeah, because Zoe needs a daddy. Daddy is not around, and so continue until something happens, which normally is caused by either shareholders change their minds, they shuffle around with the shares, yeah, with their investment intention into that company, or somebody in the senior management does something which is totally stupid, yeah, and which leads to a layoff of people, because that's always the easiest and first thing new CEOs, yeah, do, laying off people. And then I was thinking, okay, so then you would be 50, 51, whatever. You would be high in the salary. And guess what? You would be, yeah, in scope for laying off the people. Yeah. So you would be one of the people marked as check. Yeah. He is part of the ones we're going to lay off because he's too old, he's too expensive, whatever. And so I was just having a quick play in my mind and running through that. And then I said to myself, okay, so you neglected your ex-wife, your daughter, your remaining friends, yeah, have been turned around as well, turned away from you, and you lost your job. You got a perfect package. You can survive for another 3 years, but your VP title has been taken away. So who the fuck are you? Your family is gone. Your friends are gone. And your VP title is gone, where you have been dedicating 3-4 years of your life. Who are you? Nobody. Because nobody can tell who you are. Because you didn't take care and didn't block time to spend it with family, friends, and your daughter. And the question for me was, do I want that? No fucking hell. I don't want that. I think that was for me the ultimate, that convinced me ultimately to say, no, I massively need to change something, and I need to sit myself in the driving seat. Yeah. With all the challenges, with all the inner fear of not making money, not getting a customer, not being good enough. Everybody has that. I have that too. Yeah. It's not about the fears you have. It's about what you do about it. And I just keep moving. That's it.
That's great. it sounds to me like that whole experience set you up to figure out what was important to you, what gave you meaning in your life, and what fulfilled you. Would you say that's right?
Look, yeah. If I look back now, I dropped out last year, May. Yeah. Of course, I'm still in the early phase, and we had COVID in between as well. Still a little bit more present in Germany than in any other countries where they officially promoted also already the end of the pandemic. Despite of being out now and not being on the level I used to earn, by far not. What I have is fulfillment. What I have is flexibility. What I have is gorgeous people around me, partners, business partners who are supportive of me, whom I support. I built our own community as well, poor people advocating worldwide with some dudes in the UK, lovely people. With a new friend I found, Maite, in Belgium. I lost friends over the last 3 years by changing also myself. And for most, I have so much time now for Zoe. Yeah, I see her and I just love to spend time with her. And I have a gorgeous relationship with my ex-wife. Yeah. And I would never have been able to achieve that if I wouldn't have made those two steps, changing myself as the person who I have been versus who I am today, and stepping out of corporate and doing what I'm passionate about. Yeah. Serving others, helping others, creating also fun time. Yeah. Because that's what I always was missing when I did really big projects. And the last project I did in Kraft Heinz was actually my biggest project in my entire career and was also one of the transformative projects for Kraft Heinz itself. But what I've always missed is if it comes to milestones, toll gates where you need to deliver whatever, and unforeseen things are happening, everybody's in alert mode. Everybody is so serious, yeah, and full of fear. Fear leads to anger and all these things. And there was always this atmosphere of literally, I don't know, it was horrible for me. Yeah. And I never understood. I always was the guy who said, the more serious it gets, the more you need to bring in humor to ease the atmosphere. Because if everybody is just afraid and full of fear, creativity is dead. And in those situations, where you close that shit is hitting the fan, you need creativity to find a way out of the dilemma, the situation you're in, right? And now I can do all of these things. I'm my own boss, yeah. And I'm able to get people to build this relationship and connection with the people, to tell them, look, it is a shitty situation, yes, but look, you have so many opportunities and possibilities how we can tackle it, yeah, to just make a turnaround, yeah, and it's also I'm authentic, you know, I'm an authentic person, and I'm transparent, and I'm loyal to myself, to others as well. And what I didn't like is the fact, which happens everywhere in the corporate world, is corporates are there to be not only to make money, to become most profitable, to please shareholders and increase margin and profits. Whatever is needed to achieve that goal, they will do. But it has nothing to do with the human beings behind it. And that's what always bothered me when you saw on the ads, the customer is our highest value, the employee is our highest value. Sorry to say, that's all fucking bullshit. There may be some corporates, yeah. There are 2, 3. Which was the one? Patagonia, yeah. That CEO is impressive. Yeah, he just donated literally his whole company and transform it into a non-profit kind of organization. Yeah, not quite, but yeah, and I have this level of fulfillment which I never experienced before. That's, I think,
That's
doing
wonderful.
what
Koray, before we get into I want to switch gears a little bit and go and talk more about purpose. But before we do that, I'd love to hear from you. What if you were to look back retrospectively on your corporate career? What would you say is the silver lining for you, or the gold nugget that you got from that experience?
everything. Look, every achievement, every major setback I have been experiencing corporate, the layoffs, despite of being one of the high performers, stuff like that, everything gave something to me. Yeah, my on the hard skills side, yeah, being very professional, presenting, driving projects on a global scale, yeah, around the globe, dealing with difficult people, setting goals, yeah, breaking them down into milestones. All these things helped me a lot. Also on the soft skill side, with in particular with the layoffs, and finally with quitting corporate, that there is nothing you need to fear, because you can overcome everything. And everything what happens, what blocks you, is happening here. Yeah. So literally,
it sounds to me like that's the yeah. Sounds like that's the gold nugget for you. It was a personal takeaway.
Just do it. Just do it, regardless of the consequence. But believe in you before you start doing it. You need to believe in what you do. You need to believe in yourself, in what you do. Yeah. And then go for it. And don't stop. Don't stop. Because I talk to so many people who try to become self-employed, who have been doing that for a couple of years. They failed and they returned back. But they didn't fail. What they did is they gave up. They didn't fail. How can you fail if you keep trying until you reach it? How? It's impossible. It's impossible not to achieve what you envision to achieve. You just need to keep doing it. It's resilience. Yeah. Just, I mean, if the founder of General Electric, yeah, if he wouldn't have tried 1,000 times, yeah, to create this light bulb, yeah, we wouldn't have been where we are today, probably. Yeah, Alpha Edison. And so many examples. So failure only exists in your own mind. Nothing is a failure in life. Yeah, because it teaches you something. Yeah, that's it.
That's a great takeaway. I think one of the most important takeaways you could get from working in a corporate career. Let's talk about purpose, right? Because here in Six Star we talk about purpose a lot. You know, what does it mean to be purposeful? How does a business become purposeful? You know, and that's obviously linked to meaning. And I've heard you talk about having meaning in your life. Now, what does purpose mean to you, and how have you seen businesses do purpose successfully? What does that mean to you as well?
I mean, without purpose in life, what are you going to achieve without a purpose? What type of life do you have? There's always needs to be a kind of a purpose and aim you are striving towards. You're trying to achieve, because otherwise your life is meaningless. And I think the purpose of us being here is living together and showing and demonstrating to each other, yeah, the kindness, generosity, the support, the empathy. And everybody can do that in different ways. It doesn't need to be always just. So it applies to every corner of life, right? And achieving, becoming a millionaire is not the purpose. I mean, there are so many millionaires out there who definitely are miserable people because they're not happy. They're not fulfilled. Yeah. And for me, the purpose is making people happy to what I do. Happy to bringing people together, helping people with challenges they face in the business world by helping them with their value proposition or other things. And as I said, I'm a connector. For me, it's easy to build networks with people, to connect with people, and then understand what has somebody to offer and where's the challenge and the problem of somebody else. And do I have people in my network who can help each other? Yeah. And there has been many occasions, where I was able to bring people together where it turned out into becoming a business. Yeah. A seller and a buyer, or a mentor and a coachee, or mentee. And these type of things. Yeah. And for me, meaning in life. So when I step out of this life, in my late 90s or early hundreds, let's say, I change also my eating habits. So I assume I will live a long, precious life, fulfilled life. What I want to leave back when I'm gone is that people just remind the precious moments they've spent with me. Yeah. So I want to make an impression in their mind, in their memories. Say, wow, this fucking guy. I love this. Yeah. And, I just want to remain a positive memory in their minds where they also resonate with, he also helped me to overcome some challenges, some fears. He was really a good guy. That's it. Yeah. And of course, being the best daddy for my daughters.
There's no, of course, there's no denying you are definitely a passionate and purposeful person, right? That just oozes out of you. I want to ask you, do you think that it's necessary for a business owner to be tapped into their purpose in order to be truly successful?
Because if you only, and corporate is just showing you, if you only focus on earning money, that's not sustainable. Because it is more creating an environment where you can align people on values which are of meaning. And to do so, you need to understand what is your inner purpose, what is your own purpose, and what do you expect to become the purpose of the company? You're leading, you're driving. Because purpose goes beyond just making money. It aims to make a change in society for the better. Having less pollution, depending on the industry you're in. But making, as we do in Six Star, making the world a better place. With more meaning. And you can't do that without understanding what the purpose is. As simple as that.
And you went through obviously a lot of introspection and self-reflection during that period after your relationship broke up, and you learned about yourself. And would you say that was the period that you figured out your purpose? Is that where it became clear to you?
I'm still figuring out, So I know that my purpose is serving others. Because I get this type of fulfillment by helping others and seeing how I can contribute to them becoming better, becoming happier, overcoming fears, challenges, problems, whatever it is. And there are definitely some other aspects of what my purpose is, which I'm still in the phase of exploring. That's why the whole thing I'm doing right now is an adventure. So the business side of what I do, but also my private side. I have a new life partner, who's not just living around the corner, a little bit further away. So what you could see as a challenge or an opportunity to just flip-flop your conditioned way of living. And all of these things. So it's actually a continuous journey until I step out of this world. Yeah. And I will tell. The only thing I can say is be open. Yeah. Remain open and don't judge. I have been a very judgmental person in my previous chapter 1 life. Yeah. And sometimes I'm still because some events trigger patterns and then immediately you judge. But it's not about judging. It's just accepting what is happening in front of you. And it's about how do you deal with the situation. And there's a very famous saying from Albert Einstein. He says, you have 2 ways of living. Yeah. As if every day is literally a disaster, or as if every day is a miracle. Yeah. It depends on you. Yes. A lot of shitty things are happening right now. There's a war between Russia and Ukraine. Yeah. We had a lot of deaths due to COVID, but there are so many good things happening as well. Yeah. And if people get together, yeah, and they really let their hearts speak for themselves and what they really want, yeah, we can change all of these things. It's very simple.
I love that it is. And I love that everything that you've spoken about today has been around people and heart and connection and meaning. One thing I know is that we're all different. Every human being is different. And what's purposeful to you or meaningful to you will be different to someone else. And just what I love is that you've demonstrated the need and the importance of actually figuring out who you are. And through that process, the understanding what gives you meaning will become clear. So I guess that's a message, a takeaway that I'd like to share with listeners. It's not a science around figuring out one's purpose. It's not like, A plus B equals C. Because we are unique and there's so many factors that make up who we are, it is really important for us to figure out what it is that makes us sing and what gives us meaning, what makes us get up in the morning and makes us go to sleep at night and feeling fulfilled. And it doesn't matter what business you're in, just like you were saying, it doesn't matter what industry, what kind of business you do. What matters more is the human being, how you show up, what you give, how you give, and how you express yourself and the life that you live. And that's the message that I've heard from you today, Koray.
I mean, look, you can't change. We human beings who are driven by patterns, who love to stay in their comfort zone. And staying in their comfort zone is because of the fear of the unknown beyond the comfort zone. Yeah. And if what happened to me wouldn't have happened to me, I would never have got to this turning point. Because what happened to me, literally, I went through my own hell. The 2 following years after splitting from my daughter and my wife has been the hell for me. The hell. I went through my own hell. And now I'm looking back, and guess what I'm saying now? It was the best thing ever happened to me. How can you say that? This is insane, yeah? But that was the feeling at that moment when it happened to me, because I was mainly ego-driven. But the whole life, the way how I spent my life, didn't serve my inner purpose. It didn't serve the person who I could become. Yeah. Because it's all about possibilities and options. You have those possibilities and options, but you need to start with yourself. Don't start to change people around you. Why would people around you change if you don't change? If you don't demonstrate, hey, I can change too. So if I can do that, you can do it too. So give it a try. Do it. Yeah. And I think that's what you need to have. You need to get to this point where you are convinced I have nothing to lose. If I have nothing to lose, then there's nothing I need to fear. If I have nothing to lose and I have nothing to be afraid of, I can change. And that's literally what I did. I'm not saying I lived in the dark. No. But I was full of patterns, judgmental behavior, all these things, yeah, I have been driven by selfish goals. And for me, I knew all of that. The reason why I didn't continue with the VP thing is I knew how it's going to end. But what I don't know is if I act from a position of love, kindness, gratitude, and empathy, more empathy, what is that going to bring into my life? And what I'm going to achieve by applying that? That's for me new. I don't know that. Being not judgmental is a big challenge for me, believe me. Yeah. I have a fucking big ego. And now, luckily, I named him Bob before I named him Psycho. Yeah, until a friend of mine said, that's not very nice. And Bob, whom I tried to eliminate, yeah, he became one of my friends now. Yeah. And Bob is silent. Bob comes in when I'm too helpful to people, and he realized, there's a level of they want to abuse you, or they want to benefit only from you, and then Bob comes up again, say, hey, you need to watch out. But all these things, being driven by love and not judging people, just accepting the situation and the people in front of you, yeah, because you don't know their story. You don't know their story. You think you know, but you make it in your mind. And that's not what they have been living through, probably. Yeah. And for me, that's new. And I never operated under those KPIs. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying it's an adventure. And that's also why I consciously have chosen my company's name, Go Beyond. It was Go Beyond. I had to add global because Go Beyond was taken by so many companies, but I'm international anyhow. But this go beyond yourself. Go beyond your fear. Yeah. Don't limit yourself. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
What a great message. So inspiring. So powerful. We're wrapping up, Koray. I've got one final question for you, and that is this. What gold nugget would you like to leave for our listeners? I know you've shared so much. It's just been kind of like this of energy and wisdom and reflection. But if there was something you could leave our listeners with, what would it be?
I mean, one of the guys who impressed me a lot over the last 8 months is a clinical psychologist from Canada. A lot of people may know him, Jordan Peterson. This guy is so wow. And what I can only say is look in the mirror, regardless of if you like yourself or not, accept who you be at the moment and try to become, who you're meant to be in future. And your possibilities and opportunities are indefinite because you decide who you want to become. Nobody else. It's you, yourself. That's it.
What a beautiful way to wrap up. Koray, thank you so much for sharing, for bearing your soul, for being vulnerable and authentic as always. I've absolutely loved having you as my guest today. I hope you've enjoyed yourself too.
Yeah, I did. After some initial challenges with the technology.
Technology. Yes. There's always technology challenges, but you did amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Evelyn. Have a lovely day. Lovely evening.